Welcome to Standard English Conventions, the last of the 4 reading and writing domains on the digital SAT. In this video, we'll cover 2 skills, boundaries in form, structure, and sense. For each, I'll explain the concept, walk through a medium and a hard example step by step, and give you one to try yourself. These 2 skills are pure grammar, where to put punctuation between ideas, and how to keep verbs, pronouns, and modifiers matched to the right words. The good news, almost every question follows a small set of rules. Let's start. Skill 4.1, Boundaries. Punctuation marks the edges between complete and incomplete ideas. Let's break down what this question type is really asking and how to attack it. Here's the core idea for boundaries. Test each side, complete or not. Boundaries questions test punctuation between clauses and phrases, periods, semicolons, colons, commas, and dashes. Nearly everyone comes down to a single question. Is a group of words on each side of the mark a complete sentence, an independent clause, or not? Once you label both sides, the rules decide the mark for you. Read the choices as punctuation options, not wording changes, and let the grammar, not the way it sounds, pick the answer. The method has 3 steps. Step 1. Split up the punctuation. Cover the answer marks and look at the words on each side. Ask of each side, could this stand alone as a sentence? Step 2. Label independent versus dependent. 2 complete sentences? You need a hard boundary, period, or semicolon. 1 complete plus 1 fragment, usually a comma, colon, or dash. Step 3. Apply the rule, not the ear. Match the label to mark. Period / semicolon join 2 independent clauses. A colon introduces. A comma can't join 2 sentences alone. That's a comma splice. And watch this trap. The comma splice is a number 1 trap. A comma alone cannot join 2 complete sentences. If both sides could stand alone, a lone comma is wrong. You need a period, semicolon, or a comma plus a conjunction. Medium example for boundaries. Read the text. The marine biologist spent years studying octopus behavior blank. She discovered that the animals could solve puzzles and even recognize individual human faces. The question asks, which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? Pause here and try it yourself before I show the solution. Your options are A. Behavior, comma, she. B. Behavior, semicolon, she. C. Behavior, she. And D. Behavior, colon, she. Here's how to solve it. Split at the blank. Left side, the marine biologist spent years studying octopus behavior. That's a complete sentence. Right side, she discovered that the animals could solve puzzles and even recognize individual human faces. Also a complete sentence. 2 independent clauses need a hard boundary. A. A lone comma creates a comma splice. C. No punctuation creates a run-on. Both are wrong. D. A colon needs the first part to set up or introduce the second. It doesn't here. B. A semicolon correctly joins 2 closely related complete sentences. The answer is B. Complete sentence on both sides equals a semicolon or period, never a lone comma splice, and never nothing run-on. A colon would need the first half to introduce the second. Hard example for boundaries. Read the text. The 1876 exhibition showcased a startling new device blank, the telephone blank, which would soon transform how people communicated across distances. The question asks, which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? Pause here and try it yourself before I show the solution. Your options are A. Device, comma, the telephone, comma. B. Device, the telephone, semicolon. C. Device, semicolon, the telephone, comma. And D. Device, comma, the telephone, semicolon. Here's how to solve it. Look at the whole sentence. The telephone renames a startling new device. It's a non-essential appositive dropped into the middle and which would soon transform, modifies it. A non-essential element inserted mid-sentence must be set off on both ends by the same kind of mark. A matching pair of commas here. Check the sides. Neither the 1876 exhibition showcased a startling new device followed by more, nor the which modifier is a second independent clause. So a semicolon is wrong anywhere. B, C, D all use a semicolon that would break the appositive apart or falsely mark a clause boundary. A. Brackets a telephone with a matched pair of commas. The answer is A. A non-essential insertion needs a matching pair of marks around it. When neither side is a full clause, a semicolon can't belong. It only joins two complete sentences. Now you try. Pause the video and work this boundaries question on your own. Antarctica is technically a desert blank. It receives less precipitation each year than many of the world's hottest, sandiest regions. Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to conventions of standard English? When you're ready, here's the answer. C. Both sides are complete sentences. Antarctica is technically a desert forward such it receives less precipitation, so you need a hard boundary. A. Is a comma splice, and B. Is a run-on. D. Adds a conjunction, but the stray comma after it is wrong. C. Uses a period to correctly separate two independent clauses. Skill 4.2. Form, structure, and sense. Match the verb, pronoun, or modifier to what the sentence actually says. Let's break down what this question type is really asking and how to attack it. Here's the core idea for form, structure, and sense. Find the anchor, then match it. This skill covers subject-verb agreement, verb tense, pronoun agreement, and modifier placement. Every question has an anchor. The subject or verb must agree with. The noun a pronoun replaces. The timeline a tense must fit, or the thing a modifier describes. The wrong answers break that link. Find the anchor first. Ignore the words that sit between it and the blank, and choose the option that matches in number, time, or logic. The method has 3 steps. Step 1. Find the anchor. Locate the real subject, antecedent, or modified noun, not the nearest noun. Prepositional phrases and clauses often sit in between to distract you. Step 2. Ignore the interrupters. Mentally delete phrases between the anchor and the blank. The box of old letters __ agrees with box singular, not letters. Step 3. Match number, tense, or logic. Make the verb agree with its subject, the pronoun with its antecedent, the tense with the timeline, and the modifier with the thing it describes. And watch this trap. The nearest noun is a decoy. A verb often agrees with a subject several words back. An opening modifier must attach to the noun right after the comma, not whatever is closest. Medium example for form, structure, and sense. Read the text. The collection of rare coins at the museum acquired last spring blank now on display in the East Wing, drawing visitors from across the country. The question asks, which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? Pause here and try it yourself before I show the solution. Your options are A are, B were, C is, and D have been. Here's how to solve it. Find the anchor, the real subject of the verb. It's the collection, which is singular. Ignore the interrupters. Of rare coins at the museum acquired last spring sits between the subject and the blank to tempt you toward the plural coins. A singular subject needs a singular verb. A, are, B, were, and D have been are all plural forms that agree with coins, not collection. The sentence is present tense, now on display, so the singular present verb is. The answer is C. The verb agrees with the true subject, collection equals singular, not the nearest noun, coins. Delete the phrase in between, and the match is obvious. Hard example for form, structure, and sense. Read the text. Blank the trail for over a decade. The park ranger could identify nearly every bird by its call alone. The question asks, which choice completes the text so that it conforms to conventions of standard English? Pause here and try it yourself before I show the solution. Your options are A, having patrolled, B, the patrol of, C, to patrol, and D, patrolled by. Here's how to solve it. This opens with a modifier before the comma. Whatever noun comes right after the comma must be the thing that modifier describes. That noun is the park ranger. Ask, who patrolled the trail for over a decade? The park ranger did. So the opening phrase must sensibly describe the ranger performing that action. B, the patrol of turns it into a noun, leaving nothing for the ranger to do and creating a fragment. D, patrol by says the ranger was patrolled, illogical. C, to patrol states a purpose, not the ranger's experience, and reads oddly. A. Having patrolled the trail for over a decade correctly describes a ranger. The answer is A. An opening modifier attaches to the noun right after the comma. Ask who did this. The answer must be that noun, doing the action logically. Now you try. Pause the video and work this form, structure, and sense question on your own. Each of the scientists who contributed to the groundbreaking study blank credited by name when the findings were finally published. Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? When you're ready, here's the answer. B. The anchor is each, which is always singular. No matter how many scientists there are, of the scientists who contributed is an interrupter. A singular subject in a past tense sentence, were finally published, needs the singular past verb was. A, C, and D are plural forms agreeing with scientists, not each. Let's recap standard English conventions. Boundaries. Check each side of the punctuation and ask whether it's a complete sentence. 2 complete sentences need a hard boundary, a period or semicolon, never a lone comma, which makes a splice. Form, structure, and sense. Find the anchor, the true subject, the antecedent, or the noun a modifier describes. Ignore the words in between and match number, tense, or logic. Practice both at saprep1600.com. Thanks for watching and good luck on test day.